welcome to episode 49 of Masters of the Forge. I'm Snorre, and with me in this still gender-neutral hobby cave, Adam.
Hola. Hello, everyone. I am excited to be here.
I'm too.
Is episode 49, and feeling like a podcasting grown-up at this point. It's pretty nice.
Only 2 more weeks. Only 2 more weeks.
Pushing 50.
Yes.
Oh man. So there's a lot going on, isn't there, Snorri? Like, there's still all kinds of stuff still happening.
Yeah, you're going to England in a couple of weeks, and what else happened? Nothing. Wait, I think Terrace of Geek Nations has some exciting news.
Oh, yeah, that's really exciting. I'm really stoked for that.
Yeah, for those who haven't seen this, Terrace Cassidy of Geek Nation Tours has actually bought the 40K radio podcast. So, hooray! It's finally going to be something I might want to listen to, because the previous incarnation of it was just, in my opinion, terrible.
Yeah, Terrace is a great guy. I've been on many of his tours. I think he's got a true love for the hobby, and I have no doubt that it'll be kind of a mixed bag of different things, not just 40K, but like a great gaming podcast. And I don't know. I definitely am going to give it a shot, and if only to listen to more Canadian accents, because I find them to be delightful.
So
yeah, that'll be great. I can't wait to listen to that, and just to hear what Terrace brings to the medium. I think that'll be wonderful. I hope that he got all the equipment too. That way he can start off running.
Yeah. And hopefully it will be a show that doesn't hawk Geek Nation Tours as much as the show used to hawk certain products.
Yeah, I mean, clearly there's going to have to be some kind of it would be stupid not to have some kind of tie-in or segment involving that. I mean, clearly that has to be a part of the show, but I doubt very highly it'll be that all encompassing.
Yeah, to that degree.
Yeah, to that degree. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, have you been doing anything in the hobby recently?
No.
Snorri? No?
Not at all. I've been busy with real life things, and I've been busy with my flying. So for those who care about flight simming, I now have my initial qualification for the A-10 Warthog. But, that still means I can't fire any weapons. So, that's going to be my next couple of months learning that.
Well, yeah, I mean, virtual depleted uranium rounds cost a lot of money, Snorri.
Yes.
There's been some exciting things with GW. They're bringing back some organized play events. We're thinking about actually doing the Tank Shock event in our store, depending on how valuable the Tank Shock OP kit is. If it looks like it's just a way for G-Dubs to take money from the stores, we may not do that. But if it's truly a valuable event packet and has, and actually could draw new players and stuff, I think we're going to give it a shot. I guess it's basically everyone buys a tank, everyone gets together for a couple weeks, builds and paints their tank, and then a couple weeks after that, you play some small games. You use the tank you bought for that. So we might go ahead and try that. And instead of doing the building and painting in the store, however, most people, if you're coming on Mondays, you're not going to want a hobby. You're going to want to play a game. So we're thinking about doing the hobby sessions over Skype instead, like on a Sunday morning, like we usually record, Snorri.
Yeah.
We're thinking about doing like late Sunday morning and on Skype or at a buddy's house and doing it that way. And then on Mondays we'll play some games.
Yeah.
And that discussion kind of rolled into, we might do like a escalation league, except the twist, we're thinking about making it a team thing. And I think that might be really fun, like a fun like escalation team thing where it's like 500 points, 750 points, 1,000 points, and you get extra points for painting new models, and for playing games. I think that might be fun. And you can't have the same teammate twice in a row or whatever. I think that'll be one of the things we institute.
Yeah, it really reminds me of the Escalation League stuff that's been going on at the Games Workshop store in Oslo, where you start out with buying one squad of... they've had, I think most of the time it's been Age of Sigmar or Lord of the Rings type games. So, they buy one squad of something and paint it and put it on the table, and... after a certain time, you escalate the league a little bit by buying a second kit, and then you build up, and suddenly you have a fully painted skirmish force.
Yeah. No, it's a fun thing to do, and everybody is always like, "Oh, we should do an escalation. We should do escalation." I think it really helps people get their hobby on. I think it really does.
Yeah, it does.
So there's been a little exciting here. I mean, we're clearly getting towards England, so I've been kind of painting my my dorks so I could bring them all painted with me. So this week, after I finished my Diggas tanks, I painted the rest of my Hellbores, which there were like 16 left, and it was just a simple dry brush because it's the fur, so. Mostly dry brush with the faces are red, so I did layering on those. But yeah, those are done. Now I don't know. I think I had a loaves and the fishes moment with my Blood for the Blood God paint because I had exactly enough left to do the bases of those pigs, and it was gone. So I thought that was really cool. I'll have to pick up some more tomorrow at the shop. I have some cultists, a lord on foot, and the skull cannon left to paint. And I think I can get those done by in the 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks. How many weeks is it? Like whatever, 2 or 3 weeks I have until the England trip.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. So as you know, Snorri, I've been doing some articles for Frontline Gaming, some like competitive articles on stuff I know about and not stuff I don't know about. So I had some store credit saved up, and I picked up 7 of the Frontline Gaming buildings that I plan on building into like a cohesive city board.
I saw that. I really like those.
Yeah, they're really nice. And I just have to... building them is not as quick as I thought it would be. There are a lot of little details and stuff that you can add to the buildings, which is great. It just takes a little bit longer. I'm just using white glue. I think that works fine.
Regular wood glue?
Yeah, just not even. I'm not even using wood glue, Snorri. I'm using just white glue, like Elmer PVA glue. Yeah, it works just fine. They have kind of a tight fit, the pieces, so they're already I dry fit a building together, and it stayed together pretty well. Yeah. Of course, I'm not going to just dry fit all the buildings, so I just added a little white glue and it was fine. I didn't have to like hold it or anything. So I think I might get that diagonal city fat mat to go with it at some point. Maybe once I do a few more articles and rack up store credit, I'll just pick up that fat mat and have it sent. And I'll use that for my city. I like the diagonal one because if you play Vanguard or if you play either of the either of the horizontal deployment types the roads are in a diagonal format, and it blocks line of sight pretty well. That's great for city fight. You don't want to be able to see somebody across the board until you move and get into a lane of fire. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good idea. But yeah, I just have some purchases to make. I'm not sure. I mean, there's some things I want to get for my stay. Staying with Jason from the Overlords, I want to thank him for him. He doesn't listen to the intros, and or I'm not even sure if he listens to our show, but whatever. I want to thank him for keeping me up. I really appreciate it. So I'm gonna get some food and stuff for this stay. It's basically making it so I can actually go. It would have been really expensive to stay at a hotel in London, so
yeah,
it was really, really good.
I can give you a tip on what to bring, because with Jason it's pretty simple. Tacos and burritos.
Yeah. I'm gonna be trying to make some. I'm gonna try to make breakfast. I'm gonna try to make huevos rancheros. I made it the other day and I screwed up the eggs because I thought, I don't make sunny side up eggs ever, and I tried making them in my cast iron skillet, and it just gets too hot in there, and I didn't have a proper flipper, and it was ruined. And then I brought out my nonstick one, and I cooked it in that, and it was fine. So Wendy had the good one, and I had the giant pile of mess one. So I have some practice left to do on that, but I'm really looking forward to it, Snorre. I think this will be the last episode before I go that the listeners have. So I think episode 50 will release during the trip. So everyone just wish me luck. I'm going to have a wonderful time. And I can't wait to see everyone and have some games at the Overlords and have some games up at Warhammer World. I already have a bunch of people who are like, I am going to give you money and you are going to buy me things at Warhammer World. Yay!
Yeah.
So I hope I have the luggage space.
Yeah, bring an extra large suitcase.
Right? Yeah, I may. If worst comes to worst, I'll throw away some underpants to make room, and I'll just buy new underpants when I get here. It'll be cheaper than bringing another suitcase.
Yeah, and also it's much cheaper than getting Forge World shipped over.
Absolutely, yes, it is. So I guess that's it for the intro. This episode is about what is it about? Death Spectres?
I don't know.
Spectres.
I think it's been censored.
Death Spectres. Censored by the Inquisition?
Yep.
Yeah, right. Probably commissioned by the Inquisition. Freaking dudes. Yeah, this will be a short episode compared to the 4-hour monstrosity from the last episode. But I hope it's full of information you can use in your games of Warhammer 40,000. Snorre, I'll be right back. We need to do some messages, and I need to take a pee.
We'll be right back after these messages.
At the It Will Not Die podcast, we focus on narrative gaming that brings your tabletop to life.
Join us every 2 weeks for campaigns, reviews, and interviews from around the world and across the hobby.
And remember, it doesn't matter how you love the hobby.
Just do it.
Nailed it.
Hey, Masters of the Forge listeners, are you looking to expand your Warhammer 40,000 gaming group?
Do you want to start a 40k club in your area?
Do you want the people you attract to be like-minded mofos?
Do you want to advertise your YouTube channel?
Or even attract more subscribers to your hobby blog or online community?
Then what better way than to advertise on the Masters of the Forge podcast?
All we ask of you is that you email us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com or message us on Facebook with a full text of your advertisement, including the region in which you live and any contact information people can use to get a hold of you.
We will have one of our many tech servitors read your advertisement on the air. We promise not to make fun of you.
Though we can't always predict the actions of our servitors, you really can't find good help these days.
No, you can't. All right.
And that was the wonderful battle cry of none other than the Death Spectres. The shrouded history of the Death Spectres begins in the 34th millennium. This was a time which is now referred to as the Nova Terra Interregnum. By definition, an interregnum is a pause in governmental rule, usually while a ruler is contested. During this time, the Imperium was fractured into several warring factions, and it is suspected that the whole mess was caused by none other than good old Cypher himself. The Imperium's inability to react quickly and cohesively to threats left an opening for the Thexian trade empire from the blood moons of Thex Prime.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of them, but the Thexian trade empire, also known as the Thexian elite, held sway over several species, including the Borlak, the Luxotl, which are this race of big, slimy, hostile reptile things, and the Nikasar, who are our flat, psychic space bear buddies from episode 37.
Just one thing, Adam.
Yeah.
A race of big, slimy, hostile reptiles?
Yeah.
With the xenophobic attitude that the Imperium displays, who wouldn't be hostile?
These are really hostile, like, nobody likes them.
Oh.
Yeah, like, it's not just the Imperium, it's like everybody. They are a nasty, brutish, quadrupedal, like slimy reptilian species that are very aggressive. But it does seem interesting that the Thexians had this kind of control over both them and the Nikasar. It's they're the way that they're portrayed is that they're very persuasive. So it's almost a Taoish type thing, but I think it's got more to do with mental control than it has to do with actual suggestive techniques. They're kind of described as being this biomorphic race, somehow able to like alter their physique, both for physical and mental tasks. Some historians have been able to piece together enough information to tie the Thexian trade empire to an event during the Nova Terra Interregnum called the Pale Wasting, which rampaged across the Ghoul Stars for like 900 years or something.
Yeah, and the Pale Wasting is an event that is pretty cryptically referred to as something of a star-spawned plague that was belched out by a nightmare engines. So, the little that's available of information in the Imperium is very vague.
Yeah,
not vague. There we go.
Yeah, and it's more of a like legend than it is a history, which that's a very important distinction.
Yeah. Whether the Thexians caused the Pale Wasting or they simply just took advantage of it is pretty much unimportant by now. The results of the Pale Wasting were the ravaging of entire sectors and the destruction of 11 Space Marine chapters. So this wasn't just a minor cough in the universe.
Yeah, this was a serious insurrection.
It is thought that it was this struggle which begat the numerous dead worlds in the Ghoul Star sectors.
Yeah, it's a big region. The Ghoul Stars are a big region of space in the northeast quadrant of the galaxy.
I think it's at least, it is northeast.
Yeah, out on the fringes. Like some people consider the Xeno species in that area to be like ghost-like and specter-like, I guess. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think I remember that the Ghoul Stars is also referred to, or when people talk about it, they always do in hushed tones because it's considered to be a cursed place. Everything about it seems to be cursed.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, you can learn more about Dead Worlds if you want by listening to a recent episode of the Adeptus Terra podcast. All information about this war, though, was lost, and probably intentionally by the Imperium, even in the data crypts of the Nova Marines, who were among the few surviving Space Marine chapters of this conflict. One might argue that the Thexians were an early example of infiltration by a gene stealer cult, too.
You know what? That's just a little bit of speculation on our part, but it certainly sounds like it makes sense. A biomorphic race controlling things from the inside out, like And records speak of the Thexians' combat bioform as being truly terrifying to behold. So, you never know. So when the 35th millennium rolled along and the Nova Terra Interregnum was brought to an end through, I guess you could call it ecclesiarchy meddling. Unfortunately, as time went on, because of their ability to stop the Nova Terra Interregnum, that is one of the things that really increased the influence of the ecclesiarchy in the galaxy, and one of the reasons why they're so powerful right now. So after that, the 13th founding of the Adeptus Astartes was commissioned, and the Death Spectres were born. The 13th has earned the nickname the Dark Founding due to its sparse information available on its genesis, although some information is likely hidden in some long-forgotten data crypt in Terra. There is no trace of the 13th founding available today. Even the sacred stores of gene seed, which the Imperium keeps for every single chapter ever created, are empty of the evidence of the Dark Founding. Besides the Death Spectres, only the Exorcists are confirmed to belong to the Dark Founding. Some believe that the Crimson Sabers, currently the excommunicate traitors Crimson Slaughter, were also of the 13th founding, but due to the lack of information available, this is arguable. Anything really from that time period is arguable, but it seems to make sense. I guess the Ordo Malleus had something to do with the Exorcists. I'm not sure if the entire founding has been expunged from record, it seems to make sense that a single group may have commissioned the entire thing, and I wonder if the Inquisition in general commissioned the 13th founding and expunged its records.
It's quite possible, really.
Yeah.
But the Death Spectres were specifically created to be stationed on the edge of the Ghoul Stars to act as a sentry against the horrors that lurk there. Their duty is to be ever vigilant of any Xenos threat which would seek to encroach beyond the Ghoul Stars. Of course, not even 100 chapters would have enough ships to physically patrol such a vast part of interstellar space. Fortunately, the Death Spectres have a powerful tool which has allowed them to maintain their vigilance for thousands of years.
Yes, this is a very interesting piece of information. When Corcatus, the first Megir, also that's kind of what they call their chapter masters. When Corcatus of the Death Spectres knelt before the Golden Throne to swear fealty to the God Emperor of mankind, he was blessed with a vision. This vision took him and his chapter to the world of Occludus, beyond the Imperial boundaries, at the edge of the Ghoul Stars. Occludus is derived from occlude, which is the process by which something is stopped or obstructed, which is interesting. There they raised Logopol, their fortress monastery. As they dug through the earth, building catacombs and other infrastructure, they found a hidden place beneath Logopol. A glass-like throne, radiating with psychic power, stood in an ancient domed chamber. They named this the Shariax.
The Shariax bestows incredible power upon the Megir, presumably a strong ability of foresight and omniscience. The Megir is capable of directing the Death Spectres to some degree. His input is rarely sought for banal matters, and powers are only harnessed for the most important of needs. So this is something they both revere and fear to a certain degree, I think.
Oh, yeah.
This great power does not come without a price. The Megir's life is drained from his body over time, and he becomes literally petrified. When he eventually succumbs to the Shariax, a new Magir takes his place, and that is usually a Mazazar, or what we would call a chief librarian.
Yes, this is very interesting. So it's almost like he has his own little astronomicon, but it doesn't. It's not like a beacon. It's more of a scrying pool, a witch's scrying pool, where he can kind of see everything that's going on in the ghoul stars, and maybe even predict what's happening in the ghoul stars, and react to things through the time stream. It's very interesting.
And it's also making me think of the Eldar Seers, because we're looking into the different possible paths of the future to glean what's going to happen and where the Death Spectres need to be. And if someone gets stuck on the path of the Seer, they become crystal. So,
Yeah, I think it's very much in that vein. This chair may very well be something left behind by the Old Ones, or even the Eldar themselves. We'll talk a little bit about their librarius in a bit. First, though, let's get their kind of more mundane stuff out of the way. The Death Spectres are a Raven Guard successor, or at least they're thought to be. The Death Spectres they've embraced that assumption, at least publicly. It's a compelling argument considering they share the same genetic abnormalities as the Raven Guard. Their melanchromic organ is malfunctioning, causing every Astartes to exhibit albinism and glowing blood-red eyes. They also have no Becher's gland, so they can't spit acid, and no mucinoid gland, so they can't seal their skin in a cocoon when they're exposed to vacuum. They pull their recruits from a handful of designated seed worlds and the Scholastica Psychana. It's interesting, there's still argument as to whether they're a Raven Guard successor, and it makes sense, I guess. If it's such a secretive founding, it's entirely possible that that those who commissioned it they may have intentionally created those genetic abnormalities to throw off anyone who tries to look into their true true successor.
So the chain of command in the Death Spectre starts with the Magir who is trapped upon the Shariax. The Magir is also known as the First Spectre, the Grand Master of the Order. So here we're starting to look at more Raven Guard-looking stuff. And he's also known as the Eye that Pierces the Veil. Next, the Mazazar is something of a chief librarian, though he tends to have the same responsibilities as a chapter master from a more traditional chapter. Because, he's not stuck on a throne, and he's probably the most senior and wise person in the chapter.
That's right.
The Magron is the master of the flag, and the Menor here are the chapter council. The Death Spectres are preparing for one called the Kadash, or Living Chalice, and it is thought that this is the one who will bring about the Great Resurrection. Whether the Death Spectres are referring to the numerous dead battle brothers mummified in the crypts below their fortress monastery, the God Emperor of mankind, or both, we don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Can you imagine? I mean, it makes sense, like that, because they treat their dead with such honor, and that they actually mummify them. They imagine a day when they get somebody on that chair who can bring all of the dead Death Spectres back to life, and possibly even the Emperor. Like, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
The chapter's librarius is known as the Order. Obviously, their influence is going to be strong on the Death Spectres, considering the reverence they have with their psychers. Compared to other chapters, the Order has a size and power rather unheard of. They're known for being masters of fate and time. The Order can peer into the future and reach into the past, leaving clues for others of their kind in order to manipulate events and alter the future. Why they haven't attracted the attention of the Ordo Chronos is anyone's guess. I mean, I guess the Ordo Chronos really doesn't have teeth like other Ordos do, but I can imagine this chapter would raise a few red flags. And that adds to my superstitions that that the Inquisition has something to do with these 13th founding.
It's a fair assumption. And as we mentioned before, death is important to the Death Spectres. Kind of goes with their name, right? Mm-hmm. But in a somber and respectful way. They are not suicidal, nor do they harbor any dangerous death wish, but they revere the dead of their chapter deeply, believing strongly in the old tenet, only those who die in battle will be reborn. They mummify their fallen brethren and put them in the catacombs of Logopol. The Death Spectres also find comfort in strolling their world's endless graveyards and tomb cities.
Yeah, they just kind of... There's not any great description online anywhere of their world, but it seems as if that it is what do they call it, like a crypt world or whatever. It seems there are a lot of necropolises and stuff all over the world, and the whole only those who die in battle will be reborn makes me think that they actually do believe someone will come one day and resurrect all their brothers. That would be quite the Space Marine chapter.
Yeah, and
well, they've been operating for like 6,000 years. So can you imagine how many battle brothers that would be? All
it's going to be
mummified?
A lot.
This would be pretty cool.
Yeah, but then again, we're talking about crypts and necro stuff, and there's no robots in sight.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting thing. Oh, we just set up our fortress monastery on top of a Necron tomb. Anyways, in battle, the Death Spectres are silent killers. They use subterfuge in order to gain a clear upper hand before attacking. This combat doctrine does much to solidify the belief that the Death Spectres are a Raven Guard successor. Although this serves them well against the threats of the Ghoul Stars, the Death Spectres have also proven their worth in conflicts throughout the Imperium. They have taken part in the Macarian Crusade, initiated counterattacks against High Fleet Jormungandr, and fought the Void Dragon Corsairs and the Cabal of the Envenomed Thorn on Vern 4, and assisted the Silver Skulls in saving face against Orikan the Diviner. And hey, there we have some Necrons.
Yeah, that was a really interesting story. Apparently, Orikan predicted that the orcs would prevail in a certain part of the galaxy, but the Silver Skulls came and messed them up. And Orikan was like, well, no, wait a minute, I predicted this. So he went back in time and set things up so that the Silver Skulls would lose. Like an entire company of Silver Skulls died. So the Imperium, that was a big fight for the Imperium, but the Silver Skulls were just completely failed in repelling Orikan and his forces. It was pretty interesting.
Later, 6 companies of the Death Spectres took part in thwarting the 13th Black Crusade, infiltrating the world of Lilithar and executing stealth raids, thus taking pressure off deployed Imperial Guard regiments. And elements of the Death Spectres, as part of the Death Watch, are currently assisting with the Achilles Crusade in the Jericho Reach against the forces of Chaos, the Tau, and High Fleet Gorgon. And that will be Fantasy Flight's roleplay game.
Mm-hmm, I think so, yeah. I think that's their Death Watch role-playing game.
Yeah, if it's Jericho Reach, it's the roleplay game.
Yeah. There's a lot of information about Jericho Reach and Segmentum Obscurus as well because of those role-playing games. It may seem like there's a lot of stuff in those regions, but that's only because the fluff has been expanded by that company so much for these role-playing games. Expanding the background is very important for a role-playing game because you need all that information for story ideas. So if you're sitting there thinking, wow, a lot of stuff goes on in the Segmentum Obscurus, I wouldn't assume that that's the only place where that stuff happens. Like if you see a list of Space Marine chapters and you're like, wow, there are more Space Marine chapters in Segmentum Obscurus than anywhere else. Well, not really. It's just because the background has been expanded there.
And also, I guess it means that records have been kept meticulously about what's going on there, instead of like the rest of the Imperium, where stuff is lost and just data degrades to the point where we know there was something in this box, but now it's just dust.
Right. And you could say the same thing about Earth, right? Like, so just because we have, 2,000 years of history, sitting in Europe somewhere, that doesn't mean that stuff wasn't happening in the Americas. It just means that it was recorded.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it for the in the lore section for the Death Spectres. I think this is a really interesting chapter, Snorre. I think anyone should be happy to build an army and tell additional stories about the Death Spectres going forward.
I've always noticed the Death Spectres when I've gone through the different Space Marine codexes.
Mm-hmm. They pop up a lot.
Yeah, I think it's the Stark iconography. It's like the bone shoulders with the two scythes on them, and they are made. They may always make sure to mention the Ghoul Stars and the Death Spectres. So they've been prominently mentioned, even though they've never been fully developed in the game or in the tabletop game itself.
Yeah, it's like it's almost got a Blood Ravens-y kind of feel. If GW were to do kind of a successor chapter book, I think that the Blood Ravens and the Death Spectres would be excellent choices for chapters to focus on in a book like that. I think you're right. They get mentioned a lot, and it's usually one of those. We've also got this problem up there, the Ghoul Stars. Good thing we got those Death Spectres up there keeping watch, because I don't know what we're going to do about that.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for the Ghoul Stars.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yes, right. That's right. And you know what I got no time for? Going to the bathroom. So we better take a break. And we'll come back, we'll talk about Death Spectres on your tabletop.
Do you play more than one mini war game? Or do you like listening to shows which discuss other games and pan hobby topics? Combat Phase is a weekly podcast covering the whole hobby for gamers. We also interview a lot of Black Library authors. Join Kenny and Robert as they try to grow the hobby. Combat Phase, the best part of the game, is on iTunes and www.combatphase.com.
NGC 40K, where the story meets the table.
Join the hosts at Pete's Bar as they explore the craft behind the models, the story behind the scenarios, and the camaraderie behind the game.
Listen to the podcast and join in the discussion at ngc40k.com.
Welcome back, and now we're going to talk a little bit about what do you do if you want to play the Death Spectres chapter on your tabletop and starting your collection. I at first, if you want more inspiration, a lot of this stuff has been spoiled already. But if you read Exhumed and Death Watch, both by Steve Parker, these are stories which involve the Death Spectres directly. And Exhumed can be found in the compilation Hammer and Bolter 2, but Death Watch is a proper novel. So I would go ahead and check those out if you want to read more about the Death Spectres in detail and get more inspiration. When you paint your Death Spectres, they are kind of black with white and bone. The shoulder pads are the white parts. The bone are kind of the chest symbol and stuff like that. It's an interesting scheme, not terribly exciting, but you're not going to get an exciting scheme for a Raven Guard successor who does a lot of sneaky stuff.
Nah, really.
You're not gonna have flashy colors saying, "Hey, here we are, fight us." They're a little bit more. Yeah, sure, they're 8-foot super soldiers, but they're still gonna try and be a little camouflaged, I guess.
Yeah, and also, sneaking around with pink and baby blue uniforms does not work.
Yeah, and if your IFF, signal is broken, your allies could mistake you for followers of Slaanesh, so you don't want that.
Yeah.
No one wants that.
Yep.
As far as like building your army, I would say librarians for sure should be your top commanders, and then everybody else is kind of subject to them.
Yeah.
I
guess
assume.
that just doing mostly a Raven Guard type force, typically Raven Guard type force would get you far because they are quite similar in many aspects.
Yeah, they use a lot of infantry and jetpack infantry, and that would make sense for this chapter completely.
Yeah.
I could definitely see your warlord being a librarian on with a jetpack, kind of jumping around, melting brains, Johnny on the spot, going from unit to unit, shooting people with mind bullets and stuff like that, or boosting squads with what are they called? Blessings. Boosting people with blessings. I think that'd be a cool way to play them. So, in addition to that, I got this wouldn't be Masters of the Forge without some armchair game design stuff. We have an entire group of rules you could use if your opponent is up for it. Some specialized Death Spectres chapter tactics units and relics. So, do you want to start us off, Snorri?
Yes, please. We've decided to treat the Death Spectres as being Raven Guard for all purposes, including chapter tactics and availability of any special Raven Guard detachments and formations. The Death Spectres may not, however, select special Raven Guard relics. In addition, the Death Spectres may use some additional benefits and restrictions. And the first one of these is Masters of Time. The Death Spectres are especially adept at the divination discipline, and after selecting psychic powers, a Death Spectres librarian may select a single power of the divination discipline as his quote-unquote specialization. He may harness the warp at 3+ instead of a 4+ when manifesting that power. In addition, you may deny the witch against divination powers on a 5+ instead of a 6+, whether that power was targeted or not. If your opponent attempts to manifest your specialization power, you deny the witch on a 4+ instead.
Right. So if you pick like the Primaris, what is it, Prescience, and your opponent tries to manifest Prescience, you can deny the witch on a 4+ regardless of whether he targeted or not. And if it is targeted and they target you, well, you're a librarian, so it's a 3+. And if you're a higher level librarian, then it becomes a 2+. Like, you are really good at denying the witch.
Oh yeah,
against that specific discipline.
Yep.
The next chapter tactic power is Legacy of Vern 4. The Death Spectres may not deploy Predator tanks in their battles, as they were all destroyed by the Cabal of the Envenomed Thorn on Vern 4. This is a Dark Eldar Cabal, and they actually ambushed the Death Spectres, which I'm sure that doesn't happen a lot.
No. But then again, they're Dark Eldar.
Yeah. Then there's the Eye That Pierces. The Death Spectres may not deploy a Chapter Master in their battles because he's stuck on a chair.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Incredulity. If your opponent successfully seizes the initiative, then all friendly Death Spectres models are Ballistic Skill 2 and Weapon Skill 2 during the first game turn.
What?
Exactly. They're like, wait a minute, we foresaw this. They're like, no, you didn't.
I really like that one.
Yeah, I thought that one was funny.
Yep. So we have a couple of new units because, well, that's what we do. And the first one is the Mesazar. One detachment using the Death Spectres chapter tactics may upgrade one librarian to the position of a Mesazar for 105 points. The megasode gains an iron halo plus 1 wound and increases their mastery level to 3. In addition to the other librarian upgrades, the megasode may select to replace their power armor with artificer armor for 20 points. And the other unit is Terrorblade. Though no information exists on how the Terrorblade is represented in the chapter's background, it is usually found as part of a command squad acting in a similar role as the chapter champion. You may use the following rules if you are so inclined. One detachment using the Death Spectres chapter tactics may upgrade one model in one of their command squads to a Terrorblade for 40 points. This grants the veteran the character role and replaces the model's bolt pistol and chainsword with a pair of Force Lightning Claws. The Terrorblade counts as a level 1 Psyker who may only select powers from the Divination discipline. I've been reading Harry Potter lately, and every time we're talking about divination, I'm going like, Sybil Trelawney. Look into the future.
Look into the future.
Anyways, the Terrorblade may only select a jetpack and or a melt-a-bombs as upgrades. If the Terrorblade is in the same unit as another Psyker, it may reroll failed Glorious Intervention rolls. In addition, while the Terrorblade's unit is affected by the Force Psychic Power, the Terrorblade gains a 4+ invulnerable save against wounds caused while it is engaged in close combat.
Yeah, so it's like its claws are able to deflect blows that come at it in close combat. I thought that was cool. That would also work against stuff like stomps and errant weapons fire that might land on top.
Yeah.
So, in addition to that, we have some chapter relics that we found in our search. The first one is the Arquimon. It's the Force Sword which was laid at the feet of the Emperor by the chapter's first mid-year. Although the sword is usually carried into battle by the Mesazar, either he or one single Death Spectres librarian may replace their force weapon with the Arquimon for 10 points. The Arquimon is a normal force sword, except that its wounds are resolved at AP2. The next one is less likely to be actually involved because of its history. The Torch of the Vigil. It's a master-crafted heavy flamer, which has seen a great deal of action with the kill teams of the Jericho Reach. It was awarded to the Death Watch after they risked their lives to secure the gene seed of a fallen Death Spectre sergeant. The Torch of the Vigil is a master-crafted heavy flamer, and it grants the preferred enemy Xenos to its bearer. For 20 points, this war gear is available to one Space Marine with the Death Spectres chapter tactics, who would normally be able to take a heavy flamer. If you also want to take this war gear for an Adeptus Astartes Death Watch member, if you're using those rules, you can.
And finally, we have a Death Spectres Ultra War mission for you. We called it Suffer Not the Alien, Let the Alien Suffer. For this mission, the factions will be the Death Spectres versus any kind of Xenos faction. And for the battlefield, we think that you should allow for several choke points throughout the battlefield with impassable or dangerous terrain. So I think this would make an excellent Cities of Death kind of mission.
Cities of Death would be great. This is a great opportunity to use kind of if you have a lava table, you could actually make the lava dangerous terrain or whatever.
Yeah. So this isn't exactly just because we did Cities of Death last show, but, it just happens to be convenient.
It works.
For objectives, you place 6 objective markers numbered 1 through 6, but placed upside down so that neither player knows what number they are before deployment. For this mission, you may only place one objective in your own deployment zone. And for deployment, players roll off to determine who chooses to deploy first. After that has been determined, flip the objective markers over to reveal the numbers. The Xenos player must deploy their units within 6 inches of any odd-numbered objective. Even infiltrators have to do this. Except for infiltrators, the Death Spectres must deploy their units within 6 inches of any even-numbered objective markers. The Death Spectres player then deploys their infiltrating models, and the player who deployed first also goes first.
Right. For the special mission rules, we have Maelstrom of War, Night Fighting, Reserves, and Variable Game Length. The player going second may attempt to seize the initiative. So, in addition to that, we have Quick Retreat, Fast Reinforcements. When falling back, the board edge closest to the unit is considered that player's home edge. When arriving from reserves, roll a die to determine which table edge they arrive from. We suggest short table edges are one number, and then the long table edges are two numbers each, so it'd be 1 for a short edge, 2 and 3 for a long edge, 4 for a short edge, and then 5 and 6 for the other long edge. And then you could kind of break those long edges into halves. That's kind of the easiest way to do that and most fair. The next one is Foresight. If a charge is declared against a unit with the Death Spectres chapter tactics in the first game turn, the targeted unit may immediately, before charge distance is rolled, move as if using the hit and run special rule. Except that if the unit moves off the board edge using this rule, it is destroyed. So basically, even though you're setting up really close to each other, if a Death Spectres unit is charged by the enemy, they get a chance to jump away before they're assaulted. But that's only in the first turn, though. So after that, that rule is not in effect. I thought that was a good way to kind of show that they have this foresight of placement, and they know that what their opponent is going to do before they do it, so they get out of the way. And for the Maelstrom of War portion, the Death Spectres player removes the No Prisoners tactical objective from the deck. This is the one where if you kill an enemy unit, you get a point, and if you kill multiple enemy units, you get even more points. They place it in front of them as if having drawn it. When they score this mission, they must leave it in play instead of discarding it. The Xenos player does the same thing, except they pull out the Ascendancy tactical objective. That's the one where you get D3 victory points if you hold 3 or more objectives. So the Xenos player is trying to hold its ground while the Death Spectres are trying to kill them. So I thought that I really loved that mechanic from the Cities of Death missions, so I decided to include it here.
I really like it too, because it forces you in a certain way to play the game in a way, or in a special way, but at the same time, it's very fluffy. It really gives you something there.
Yeah, and you can still score in other ways, but this really gives you a focus.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool.
Finally, you can't end a game without some victory conditions. And the victory conditions are pretty simple, because you should just achieve as many tactical objectives as possible. And if at the start of a player's turn they have fewer than 3 active tactical objectives, they must generate a number of new tactical objectives until they have 3. So you always have 3 cards, including the one you have that is forced on you.
Yes.
In addition, you score 1 point each for Slay the Warlord and Big Game Hunter. Also, the player with the most units within 6 inches of the center of the table scores 1 victory point.
Yeah, so we got a little King of the Hill secondary objective there.
Yeah.
I really want to try out this mission. It looks like a lot of fun. I might try this out with Jason if he's so inclined after our
Tournament?
Combat Patrol tournament. But I really think I really need to spend a lot of time play testing the rules for our 50th episode. I'm not gonna reveal what it is yet, but I'm really gonna work hard at play testing it before releasing it. A lot of these rules we kind of put it out there and say, hey everybody, play test it for us, and we'll make changes. For the 50th episode rules, I think I really want to play through it a couple times before putting it out there. So if anybody wants to play this Death Spectres mission, please do so. Let us know what you think of it. I think it'd be fun. I think it works, giving them the ability to kind of dodge out of the way if they're assaulted on turn 1. I think that balances it a bit. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's it. We're gonna take a quick break and then come back and close out the show.
In the Lincoln, UK area and looking for a game club? head down to Gobsticks. We are a long-established game club that meets every Thursday from 6 to 10. Fancy staking your claim to the Xanatos system and discovering ancient Mechanicus tech in our 40k narrative campaign? Or taking your Blood Bowl team to glory in the Gob Stick-Up? We play 40k fantasy, Blood Bowl, War Machine, Hordes, Malifaux, a wide variety of role-playing games and more. For more information, including how to find us and to speak to our members, head over to Facebook and search for Gobsticks, Gobstyks, or head to gobsticks.co.uk.
This is Rob Sanders, and you're listening to the Masters of the Forge, where the world of 40k comes to life on your tabletop.
Well, that was a delightful episode. I love hearing about very unique Space Marine chapters. This one is definitely something you can use to kind of create easy stories. I think the Death Spectres can be used to fight pretty much any enemy for any reason. Really, I think they really lend themselves to any kind of story you want to tell in the Ghoul Stars, which you can have all kinds of weird rules and weird enemies and stuff like that. Your imagination is your limit, I think.
Yep, because it's a part of space that has been described as, well, it's weird, people avoid it, and it's scary. Mm-hmm. There's no idea what's actually in there. So you can actually populate it with characters from Star Trek if you want to.
Yeah. Well, anyways, everyone, please check us out on Facebook and on iTunes. Give us some great iTunes reviews. We'd really appreciate that. And our website, mastersoftheforge.com.
And Twitter.
Yes,
as long
Twitter,
as Adam keeps posting.
Yes, as long as I keep posting. I've been trying to post more. I'm really trying to get into it, and it's just another thing. But it's great to have interaction. We got some interaction with some of the Black Library authors and stuff like that, so that was pretty cool. And the other podcasts definitely use Twitter way more than we do, and so it's been nice to have some interaction with them as well. So we're going to try to keep on doing a little bit more in that arena. Other than that, if you're in the area, feel free to slap me a high five at Salute or at Warhammer World. I'll be happy to have a chat with you. But I think, Snorre, I think that's it. Episode 50 will be coming in a couple weeks.
Yes, it will.
But until then,
fingers crossed I get out of my hobby slump.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in case that doesn't work,
that would be wonderful.
And in case that doesn't work, then just keep playing the game the way you want to.
The way you want to.
This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com. The music used in this podcast was made by Podod of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission. And I forgot to press the record button, so I'm recording from now on.
Okay.
That's a great start for a podcast recording. Jason is a magician, so he's gonna fix this.
Yeah, well, yeah, duh. Magic.
Yeah.
Hi, puppies. I am being attacked by dog love.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna let that pass.
Oh, stop.
Okay, Jason, you can use whichever you want.
Whichever one of those you prefer.
Yes.
So, I will start it right now.
2 Alabama. 1 Alabama. Yay.
We did it. Okay.
Yep.
So, I'm going to start by saying this quote. This is their battle cry. And Jason, See if you can like just if you can see if you can adjust the my pitch and everything to make me sound like a space marine.
A pitch drop then. The shrouded history. Am I? I feel like I'm mumbling a little bit here.
No, we're on Skype. Boom.
Yeah.
Sorry. I lost my place because I just went off on a tangent. There it is. Only the exorcists are confirmed to belong to the Dark Founding. Some believe that the Crimson Sabers, currently the
their duty is to be ever...
duty.
Yeah. You said duty.
I don't know. But I think I would have noticed if you said the wrong thing.
Yeah,
Jason,
okay.
if you hear him say the wrong thing, just can you magic the word Raven Guard? Because you have Raven Guard. He can magic it for you.
Yeah.
Because he's a doctor.
Of course, he can just mark the section and go Raven Guard himself, because that's completely not obvious.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Anyways, back to the show notes.
Use as much of your Texas drawl as you can too. That would be great. It was just like all our mistakes. He just inserts his own voice.
Sorry, Jason, for doing this, but there was one of these late shows. I don't remember who was on there, and the guy flubbed. He was going to say some kind of date and time, and he screwed it up. So some completely other person came and did the voiceover for it instead of just like ADRing the guy's voiceover properly. So it was like, and that show is at Monday the 41st, or sorry, yeah, not 41st, of course, but it's like, so it was super obvious that someone else did the dubbing. Anyways,
I think Stephen Colbert has done that before. Where he something was gonna happen that day, but he records earlier, so he was just like he just had somebody come in and record over his mouth moving, that's really funny.
Anyways,
yeah.
Although this serves them well against and Recordia. That was not really in sync, but whatever.
No, it was not. Backstreet's back. All right. And, again, that is not in sync. So I have to look up an in sync song.
No,
so that way
you do not.
time.
You do not want to.
Everybody, yeah, rock your body, yeah.
And Adam just. Yeah, you could just as well have soiled your pants on the air.
Well, that's copyrighted RTM, Life After the Cover Save, so I can't do that. Do you want us to get sued? Jesus Christ.
Sorry. Sorry, Blake. Sorry, Ed.
All right, so starting for reals now.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Ooh. Oh, gratulerer.
Jo, tack.
There's this reptile park in Oslo where you can actually go and handle snakes, and they can take out. They have chameleons and spiders and everything, and they've been having this Easter competition where it's like, yeah, we've posted this gecko silhouette thing on somewhere on our webpage. Go find it, and then send an email saying where you found it. And my girlfriend did this 2 days in a row, and now she's a winner. Hooray! That was pretty cool.
So she found the snake.
She found the gecko, and we plan on going in there any day now, because they're having this Easter thing where they're doing special things. They're bringing out the tarantula that you can put on you. They're pulling out snakes every day, pretty much every day, and all kinds of cool things. So we're gonna go in there and see if we can get some stuff done, because handling a 4-foot long boa. Sorry, not a boa, but a python. You've probably seen the pictures. That was so cool. So
sounds like something you can get just hanging out in your bedroom, Snorre.
Oh God! I'm gonna have to show that to tell my girlfriend about that one. Anyways, let's get.
Well, I
on.
should know. Hashtag hot tub antics. I mean, what? I mean.
Oh God!
I mean, Death Spectres.
Yeah.
Death Spectres.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that, Jason. Okay, so I was going to take the chapter tactics. Okay.
Yes.
If the Terror Blade is in the same unit as another Psyker, it may reroll failed glorious intervention. That was stupid. Or bruh. For
the Death Spectres played or blah.
And the
Wait a minute, sorry. That is so bad. There we go.
Yeah,
sorry,
there we
buddy.
go. For Slay the Lord for
A plethora of different stories in the segmentum. Segmentum. What's the segmentum? The Ghoul Star. Sorry.
Yeah.
And knowing is half the battle.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And making is the rest.
Yup.
Actually, Jason, I think that was an outtake for you.
Never underestimate the power of bullshit. It can get you through a lot of stuff.
Hey, Johnson, I need that report in like 5 minutes because I have an important meeting that's going to make sure that we have a job tomorrow. Yeah,
okay, boss.
I'll just throw something together. It will look impressive.
Report complete. I just broke my computer. It is so mad at me right now. All right, I'm gonna stop this.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We will too.